First contact. The vastness of space stretched out before Captain Lena Chen as she stood at the viewport of the Earth Diplomatic Corps Starship Harmony. Countless stars twinkled against the inky blackness, a sight that never failed to fill her with awe. But today, her attention was fixed on something far more immediate, the massive, gleaming structure that loomed ahead. Galactic Council Station Novus, Lena murmured, her dark eyes reflecting the station's shimmering lights. Headquarters of the most powerful interstellar alliance in the known universe, and completely off-limits to humans until now, added her second-in-command, Dr. Raj Patel, as he joined her at the viewport. "Are you ready for this, Captain?" Lena turned to face Raj, a wry smile playing on her lips. "Ready? I've been preparing for this moment my entire career. Humanity's first official diplomatic mission to the Galactic Council. It's about time they realize they can't ignore us forever." As the Harmony approached the docking bay, Lena couldn't help but feel a surge of pride. Just 50 years ago, humans were still dreaming of reaching Mars. Now, thanks to a chance encounter with a damaged alien ship and the reverse engineering of its faster-than-light drive, humanity had catapulted itself onto the galactic stage. The ship shuddered slightly as it locked into place within the station's docking clamps. Lena straightened her midnight blue uniform, emblazoned with the Silver Earth Diplomatic Corps' insignia, and took a deep breath. "Let's make history," she said, striding towards the airlock with Raj and the rest of her small team in tow. As the airlock cycled open, Lena was struck by the sheer alienness of the station's interior. The architecture was a blend of organic curves and impossible geometries, materials that seemed to shift and flow like liquid metal. And the beings, creatures of all shapes, sizes, and colors, moved through the vast atrium with purpose. A tall, willowy being with iridescent skin approached them. Its features were vaguely humanoid, but its eyes, all four of them, blinked in mesmerizing patterns. "Welcome to Station Novus," it said, its voice a melodious trill that Lena's universal translator rendered into crisp English. "I am Sylith, assistant to the Council Arbiter. We are pleased to finally host representatives of Earth." Lena didn't miss the slight hesitation. "Thank you, Kylith. We're honored to be here. I'm Captain Lena Chen, and this is my team. We look forward to addressing the Council and discussing Earth's petition for membership." Kylith's skin rippled in what Lena assumed was the equivalent of a nod. "The Council will convene in 3 standard hours. Until then, you're free to explore the public areas of the station. I must warn you, however, some species here may not be accustomed to human presence." As if on cue, a group of massive reptilian beings stomped past, their scales clanking like armor. They fixed Lena and her team with cold, slitted eyes, and one of them let out a low, rumbling growl. "Zorax," Raj whispered. "I've read about them. Technologically advanced, but notoriously xenophobic. They've opposed human involvement in galactic affairs from the start." Lena nodded, keeping her expression neutral as she met the Zorax's gaze. She wouldn't be intimidated. "Thank you for the warning, Xylith. We'll be mindful of our interactions." As Tylith glided away, Lena turned to her team. "All right, let's split up and gather as much information as we can before the council session. Raj, you're with me. The rest of you, stay in pairs and keep your comms open. Remember, we're here to make friends, not waves." For the next 2 hours, Lena and Raj explored the station, marveling at the diversity of life forms and technologies on display. They passed through gardens filled with bioluminescent plants, observed a group of gelatinous beings engaged in what appeared to be a lively debate, and even sampled some exotic, and thankfully non-toxic alien cuisine. But everywhere they went, Lena couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. Whispers and pointed looks followed them, some curious, others openly hostile. "Captain," Raj said quietly as they entered a less crowded area of the station, "I don't want to alarm you, but I think we're being followed." Lena had noticed it too. a shadow that seemed to flit just out of sight whenever they turned a corner. "I see it. Let's try to." She was cut off as a large, scaled hand clamped down on her shoulder, spinning her around. She found herself face to face with one of the Zoracs they had seen earlier, its reptilian features twisted into a snarl. "Humans," it hissed, its translator struggling to convey the venom in its voice. "You don't belong here. Your kind brings nothing but chaos and destruction wherever you go. The council would be fools to even consider your petition." Lena stood her ground, even as she felt Raj tensing beside her, ready to intervene. "I understand your concerns," she said calmly, "but I assure you, we're here in the spirit of peaceful cooperation, if you give us a chance." The Zorax's laugh was like grinding stones. "Chance? You've already had more chances than you deserve. Your species is barely out of its cradle, yet you dare to stand among the great civilizations of the galaxy." A crowd was gathering now, drawn by the confrontation. Lena saw a mix of expressions: curiosity, concern, and in some cases, agreement with the Zorax's words. Just as the tension was reaching a breaking point, a new voice cut through the murmurs of the crowd. "And what of it?" The speaker pushed through the onlookers, a being unlike any Lena had seen before. It was small, barely reaching her waist, with fur that shimmered like starlight and large, expressive eyes that seemed to hold ancient wisdom. "I am Kethor of the Kelthor," the being announced, its voice surprisingly deep for its size. "And I've, for one, welcome our human friends." The Zorax turned its glare on Kethor. "Of course you would, Kelthor. Your people are as primitive as these humans." Kethor seemed unperturbed by the insult. "Primitive, perhaps by your measure. But tell me, Zorax, for all your advanced technology, have you ever truly understood the heart of a star? Have you communed with the very fabric of space-time itself?" The Zorax's scales bristled, but before it could retort, Thor continued, addressing Lena directly. "Captain, I studied your species from afar. You humans are young, yes, but you possess a spark, a creativity and adaptability that many older races have lost. I believe you have much to offer the galaxy." Lena felt a surge of gratitude towards this unexpected ally. "Thank you, Kethor. We hope to prove worthy of your faith in us." The Zorax let out a disgusted snort and stomped away, shoving through the crowd. As the onlookers began to disperse, Lena knelt down to address Kethor at eye level. "I appreciate your support," she said warmly. "I hope we'll have the chance to learn more about each other." Kethor's fur rippled in what Lena interpreted as pleasure. "Indeed, Captain. I look forward to it. And I suspect you'll find more allies than you expect when you address the council. Not all of us fear change and new perspectives." As Kethor shuffled away, Raj let out a low whistle. "Well, that was unexpected. Looks like we've made our first friend and our first enemy." Lena nodded, her mind racing with the implications of this encounter. "And the council session hasn't even started yet. Come on, we need to prepare. Something tells me this is going to be more complicated than we anticipated." As they made their way back to the council chambers, Lena couldn't shake the feeling that they were standing on the precipice of something momentous. Humanity's future in the galactic community hung in the balance, and she was determined to prove that humans deserved a place among the stars. Little did she know that her actions in the coming hours would not only shape Earth's destiny, but would set in motion events that would change the face of the galaxy forever. The Quantum Conundrum. The Galactic Council Chamber was a marvel of alien architecture. Its vaulted ceiling seemed to stretch into infinity, dotted with holographic representations of distant star systems. Delegates from 100 different species occupied tiered seating that encircled a central platform. The air hummed with the soft murmur of translators and the rustle of various alien appendages. Captain Lena Chen stood on the central platform, her heart racing, but her exterior calm and composed. She had just finished presenting Earth's case for membership in the Galactic Council, outlining humanity's rapid technological progress, their commitment to peaceful exploration, and their potential contributions to the galactic community. As she concluded her speech, a ripple of discussion passed through the assembled delegates. Some nodded approvingly, others chittered or rumbled in what she hoped was agreement. But the Zorax delegation, she noticed, remained ominously still. The council arbiter, a being of pure energy contained within a translucent, humanoid form, raised a glowing hand for silence. "We thank the Earth delegation for their presentation. The council will now open the floor for questions and discussion." Almost immediately, the Zorax representative rose, its scales glinting under the chamber's lights. "Esteemed members of the council," it began, its voice a low hiss, "while the humans' progress is noteworthy, we must consider the larger picture. Their species is prone to conflict, their history stained with warfare. Can we truly trust them with the advanced technologies that council membership would grant them access to?" Murmurs of agreement rippled through some sections of the chamber. Lena felt a flicker of anger, but she quashed it, maintaining her diplomatic composure. Before she could respond, another voice chimed in. "And what species among us can claim a spotless history?" It was Cathor, the small furry being who had defended them earlier. "The humans have shown remarkable growth and adaptability. Their unique perspectives could be invaluable to the council." The chamber erupted into heated debate. Accusations and counterarguments flew back and forth, translator devices working overtime to keep up with the cacophony of alien languages. Suddenly, a deafening boom silenced the chamber. All eyes turned to the council arbiter, whose form was pulsing with bright energy. "Enough." The arbiter's voice resonated through the room. "It is clear that this decision requires careful consideration. We will recess for—" The arbiter's words were cut short as the chamber was plunged into darkness. Confused cries and the sound of bodies shuffling filled the air. Lena felt Raj's hand on her arm, steadying her. Then, as suddenly as it had gone, the light returned. But something was different. In the center of the platform, where moments ago there had been nothing, now hovered a strange, pulsating object. It was roughly spherical, about the size of a basketball, but its surface seemed to shift and ripple like liquid metal. Strange symbols and equations danced across its surface, appearing and disappearing in the blink of an eye. The chamber fell into a hushed silence, all eyes fixed on the mysterious object. The council arbiter approached it cautiously, energy tendrils extending towards the sphere, but stopping short of touching it. This is impossible." The arbiter's voice was filled with awe and a hint of fear. "This is the quantum codex, a theoretical artifact of immense power, long thought to be nothing more than a myth." Excited whispers broke out among the delegates. Lena exchanged a puzzled glance with Raj. "The quantum codex," she whispered. "Have you heard of it?" Raj shook his head, his eyes wide with curiosity. "Only in passing, in some of the most obscure xenorchaeology papers. It's said to contain the fundamental secrets of the universe, the key to manipulating reality itself." The Zorax representative pushed forward, its eyes gleaming with naked ambition. "Clearly, this is a sign," it declared. "The Codex has appeared to warn us against admitting an unworthy species into our ranks. As the most technologically advanced members of the Council, we Zorax should take custody of this artifact for safekeeping and study." Protests erupted from multiple delegations. The Kelthor representative, Kithor, hopped up and down in agitation. "Preposterous. The Codex belongs to no one species. Its appearance here, now, must have greater significance." As the arguments grew more heated, Lena found her gaze drawn to the Codex. The swirling equations on its surface tugged at her mind, tickling at the edges of her understanding. Without fully realizing what she was doing, she took a step towards it. "Captain," Raj hissed in warning, but Lena barely heard him. She reached out, her hand hovering inches from the Codex's shimmering surface. The chamber fell silent, all eyes on the human who dared to approach the mysterious artifact. Just as her fingertips were about to make contact, a surge of energy erupted from the Codex. Lena was thrown backward, landing hard on the platform. Raj was at her side in an instant, helping her to her feet. But something had changed. The codex was no longer a featureless sphere. Its surface had solidified into a complex geometric shape, covered in intricate, glowing circuitry. And projected above it was a holographic message, written in a script that Lena recognized with a jolt of shock. It's English, she breathed. The message was brief, but its implications were staggering. To those who seek knowledge, power is not the answer. Only those who understand the harmony of the universe may unlock the secrets within. The key lies in the quantum nature of consciousness itself. The chamber erupted into chaos. Delegates shouted over each other, demanding explanations, making claims on the artifact. The Zorax representative was practically frothing with rage, insisting that the humans must have somehow engineered this entire situation. But Lena barely heard any of it. Her mind was racing, connecting dots that she hadn't even realized were there. The message, the quantum equation she had glimpsed, the strange resonance she had felt with the artifact. It all pointed to something incredible. She turned to Raj, her eyes shining with excitement. Raj, do you realize what this means? The codex, it's not just some alien technology. It's tied to consciousness, to the observer effect in quantum mechanics. All those theories we've been working on back on Earth, about the quantum nature of the mind. They're not just theories. This could be the proof. Raj's eyes widened as he grasped the implications. But that would mean that humanity might be uniquely positioned to understand this artifact. Lena finished. Our primitive understanding of quantum mechanics, our philosophical approaches to consciousness, they might be exactly what's needed to unlock the codex's secrets. Their excited exchange was interrupted by the council arbiter, who had finally managed to restore some semblance of order to the chamber. In light of these extraordinary circumstances, the arbiter announced, its voice cutting through the din, the council's deliberations must be suspended. Until we can determine the nature and purpose of this artifact, all decisions regarding Earth's petition for membership are hereby postponed. The arbiter turned to Lena, its energy form flickering with what might have been curiosity. Captain Chen, given the artifact's apparent connection to your species, we request that you and your team remain on Station Novus to assist with its study. Do you accept this responsibility? Lena straightened, feeling the weight of the moment. This was more than just a diplomatic mission now. The fate of humanity's place in the galaxy, perhaps the fate of the galaxy itself, might hinge on what happened next. She met the arbiter's gaze steadily. We accept, with gratitude and humility. As the council session adjourned, Lena couldn't shake the feeling that they were standing on the brink of something monumental. The quantum codex pulsed gently in the center of the chamber, its secrets waiting to be unraveled. Whatever came next, one thing was certain. Humanity was about to prove its worth to the galaxy in ways no one could have anticipated. Human ingenuity unleashed. The days following the appearance of the quantum codex blurred together in a whirlwind of activity. Station Novus, once a hub of bureaucratic procedure, had transformed into a hive of scientific inquiry. Delegates from various species huddled in conference rooms, poring over ancient texts and debating esoteric theories. The station's most advanced laboratories hummed with activity as alien scientists attempted to unravel the codex's mysteries. At the center of it all stood Captain Lena Chen and her team, working tirelessly alongside a diverse group of alien researchers. The human contingent had been expanded, with Earth's top quantum physicists and consciousness researchers joining them via holographic link. Despite the collective brilliance assembled, progress was frustratingly slow. The codex resisted all conventional attempts at analysis. Scans bounced off its surface, and even the most advanced alien technologies failed to penetrate its secrets. Lena stood before the codex, her eyes tracing the ever-shifting equations on its surface. She felt a familiar tug at the edge of her consciousness, a sense that the answer was just out of reach. "You look troubled, Captain Chen," came a gravelly voice from beside her. "Thor, the Kelthor representative, had become a constant presence and valuable ally in their research efforts. Lena sighed, running a hand through her disheveled hair. It's just, we're missing something. All this technology, all these brilliant minds, and we're no closer to understanding the Codex than we were a week ago. Thor's fur rippled in what Lena had come to recognize as a thoughtful expression. Perhaps, the small alien mused, we are approaching this from the wrong angle. Your human quantum theories speak of the observer effect, do they not? The idea that consciousness itself can influence quantum states. Lena nodded, a spark of excitement flickering in her tired eyes. Yes, but it's always been more of a philosophical debate than a proven scientific principle. Are you suggesting that the key to the Codex might not lie in our instruments, but in our minds? Thor finished. It is but a theory, but one worth exploring, I think. Their conversation was interrupted by the arrival of Dr. Xylith, the willowy alien who had first greeted them on the station. Once a mere assistant, Xylith had proven to be a brilliant xenolinguist and had been working closely with the human team. Captain Thor. Xylith greeted them, its four eyes blinking in an excited pattern. We may have made a breakthrough in deciphering some of the Codex's surface symbols. They appear to be a form of mathematical notation, but unlike anything we've seen before, it's as if the equations are alive, evolving as we observe them. Lena felt a jolt of inspiration. Alive, evolving. Xylith, you're a genius. She turned to her team, who had gathered around at the commotion. Don't you see? We've been treating the Codex like a static object, but it's dynamic. It's responding to us, to our observations. Excitement rippled through the group, but a harsh voice cut through the murmurs. Preposterous, sneered the Zorax scientist who had been overseeing the research on behalf of his species. You suggest we abandon rigorous scientific methods for what? Meditation. Wishful thinking. Lena met the Zorax's gaze steadily. I suggest we expand our definition of rigorous science. Our human quantum theories have always hinted at the role of consciousness in shaping reality. What if the Codex is the embodiment of that principle? Before the Zorax could retort, alarms blared throughout the laboratory. The Codex, dormant for days, had suddenly sprung to life. Its surface roiled with intense energy, and the equations swirling across it were shifting faster than ever. It's destabilizing, shouted one of the alien scientists. If we don't contain it, it could tear apart the fabric of space-time itself. Panic ensued as researchers rushed to erect containment fields, but Lena stood her ground, her eyes locked on the pulsing Codex. In that moment, she made a decision that would change everything. Everyone, stop. Her voice cut through the chaos. Lower the containment fields. I need to make direct contact with the Codex. Captain. No. Raj protested. It's too dangerous. But Lena was already moving, her hand outstretched towards the swirling energy of the Codex. Time seemed to slow as her fingers made contact with its surface. In an instant, Lena's consciousness expanded. She saw the universe not as a collection of discrete objects, but as a vast, interconnected web of quantum possibilities. The Codex wasn't just an artifact. It was a nexus point, a place where the fundamental forces of reality converge. And she understood. With a gasp, Lena withdrew her hand. The Codex stabilized, its surface settling into a gentle, rhythmic pulse. I saw it, she breathed, her voice filled with awe. The Codex, it's not just a repository of knowledge. It's a key to understanding the quantum nature of consciousness itself. And more than that, it's a test. As the startled scientists gathered around her, Lena explained her vision. The Codex, she revealed, had been created by an ancient race that had transcended physical form. They had seeded these artifacts throughout the galaxy, waiting for species to evolve to a point where they could comprehend their true nature. But why? Asked Xylith, its voice hushed with wonder. To prepare us, Lena replied. There are forces in the universe beyond our current understanding. The Codex is meant to guide us, to help us evolve our consciousness to a point where we can face these greater challenges. The implications were staggering. As word spread throughout Station Novus, the political landscape shifted dramatically. The Zorax, their claims of technological superiority shattered, retreated into sullen silence. Other species, particularly those with rich traditions of meditation and consciousness exploration, stepped forward to collaborate with the humans. Over the next few weeks, Lena and her team made remarkable progress. By combining human theories of quantum consciousness with the mystical practices of species like the Kelthor and the advanced computational models of other alien races, they began to decipher the Codex's teachings. They learned of quantum entanglement on a galactic scale, of ways to communicate instantly across vast distances by aligning conscious intent. They discovered principles that could revolutionize energy production, space travel, and even the nature of life itself. But with each new discovery came new challenges. As they delved deeper into the Codex's secrets, they detected ripples of alarm spreading through the galactic community. Some species feared the changes this new knowledge might bring. Others sought to control it, seeing it as a path to dominance. Tensions rose, and whispers of conflict began to circulate through the station. The Zorax, in particular, were becoming increasingly aggressive, demanding that the Codex be turned over to them for safekeeping. As Lena stood before the Codex late one night, pondering their next move, she felt a familiar presence beside her. "You've done well, Captain," Thor said softly. "But I fear our troubles are only beginning." Lena nodded, her expression grave. The knowledge in the Codex, it could transform the galaxy, but it could also tear it apart if we're not careful. Indeed, Thor agreed. The question now is, are you, ready for the responsibility that comes with such power? As if in response, the Codex pulsed, its surface shimmering with new equations. Lena studied them, her mind racing as she deciphered their meaning. Her eyes widened. "Thor," she breathed, "I think the Codex is showing us something new. Something big." The small alien peered at the symbols, then looked up at Lena with an expression of mingled excitement and trepidation. "What is it, Captain?" Lena's voice was filled with a mix of awe and determination as she replied, "It's showing us a way to unite the galaxy. Not through politics or force, but through a shared expansion of consciousness. And it's up to us to make it happen." As the implications of this new revelation sank in, Lena knew that the real challenge was just beginning. Humanity had proven its worth in understanding the Codex, but now they would have to prove their wisdom in using its knowledge. The fate of the galaxy hung in the balance, and the next moves they made would determine whether this new era would bring enlightenment or chaos to the stars. The Galactic Gambit. The atmosphere on Station Novus crackled with tension. News of the Quantum Codex's potential to unite galactic consciousness had spread like wildfire, igniting both hope and fear throughout the assembled species. Captain Lena Chen found herself at the center of a political maelstrom, balancing the excitement of scientific discovery with the delicate task of interspecies diplomacy. As Lena strode through the station's corridors, flanked by Raj and Thor, urgent messages flooded her comm device. Some were from Earth, demanding updates and expressing concern about the rapidly evolving situation. Others were from various alien factions, some pledging support, others voicing skepticism or outright hostility. "The Galactic Council is in an uproar," Raj reported, scrolling through the latest updates. "Half the members are calling for immediate implementation of the Codex's teachings, while the others are demanding we seal it away forever." Thor's fur rippled with concern. "And the Zorax grow more restless by the hour. Their fleet has been maneuvering suspiciously close to the station." Lena's reply was cut short by a bone-shaking rumble that reverberated through the station. Emergency klaxons blared to life, bathing the corridors in pulsing red light. "What was that?" Lena shouted over the din. Her answer came in the form of the station's AI. its calm voice a stark contrast to the chaos erupting around them. Alert. Zorax vessels have opened fire on Station Novus. Shields at 82% and falling. All personnel report to emergency stations. They're making their move, Raj growled, his hand instinctively moving to the sidearm he'd been issued. Lena's mind raced. They'd anticipated the possibility of Zorax aggression, but not this soon, not this boldly. We need to get to the Codex. Now. As they sprinted towards the research lab, dodging panicked aliens and debris shaken loose by the ongoing bombardment, Lena's calm crackled to life. It was Kyleth, its usually melodious voice tight with stress. Captain Chin. The Zorax have breached the station. They're heading for the Codex chamber. Lena cursed under her breath. Kyleth, initiate Protocol Omega. Buy us as much time as you can. Protocol Omega was a last resort plan they developed in secret, hoping they'd never have to use it. As they rounded the final corner to the lab, Lena saw it in action. Holographic projectors flickered to life, filling the corridor with convincing illusions of security forces and energy barriers. It wouldn't fool the Zorax for long, but it might just give them the precious minutes they needed. They burst into the lab to find it in chaos. Researchers from a dozen species scrambled to secure data and protect sensitive equipment. In the center of it all, the quantum codex pulsed with an intensity Lena had never seen before, as if it sensed the danger it was in. Everyone out, Lena ordered, her voice cutting through the panic. Get to the escape pods. We'll handle this. As the lab cleared, Lena turned to Raj and Kithor. Okay, we've drilled for this. Raj, start the quantum encryption sequence. Kthor, I need you to attune your consciousness to the codex. You're our backup if this goes sideways. Kthor nodded solemnly, settling into a meditative pose before the codex. Raj's fingers flew over the control panel, initiating a series of commands that would, theoretically, phase the codex out of normal space-time. Lena took a deep breath and placed her hands on the codex's surface. She felt the familiar rush of expanded consciousness, but this time she pushed further. Guided by the codex's teachings, she extended her awareness, feeling the quantum threads that connected her to Raj, to Kthor, to the station, and beyond. Through this expanded perception, she sensed the Zorax strike team approaching. She could feel their determination, their fear, their misguided belief that controlling the codex would ensure their species' dominance. They're almost here, she said, her voice distant. Raj, status. Encryption at 60%, he reported tensely. We need more time. The lab doors exploded inward. Zorax soldiers poured through, their scaled bodies armored, their weapons charged and ready. Step away from the codex, their leader snarled. It belongs to the Zorax now. Lena didn't move. Instead, she smiled. You know, for an advanced species, you're remarkably short-sighted. The Zorax leader's eyes narrowed. Your tricks won't work, human. Surrender now, or... His words were cut short as the air around Lena began to shimmer. The quantum encryption was taking hold, bending light and reality around the codex. What's happening? A Zorax soldier cried out in alarm. Lena's voice was calm, almost serene. The codex was never meant to be a weapon or a tool for domination. It's a key to understanding the fundamental interconnectedness of all conscious beings. And right now, it's showing me something remarkable. As she spoke, tendrils of shimmering energy began to emanate from the codex, reaching out to touch each being in the room, human, Kelthor, and Zorax alike. I see your fears, Lena continued, her eyes glowing with an inner light. Your species' long history of being preyed upon by stronger races, your desperate climb to technological superiority as a means of protection. But there's so much more to existence than this endless cycle of fear and domination. The Zorax soldiers lowered their weapons, confusion and awe warring on their reptilian features. The energy tendrils pulsed, and suddenly, every being in the room gasped as one. For a brief transcendent moment, they were connected. Human ingenuity, Kelthor wisdom, and Zorak's determination flowed between them. They saw through each other's eyes, felt each other's hopes and fears. As quickly as it began, the moment passed. The energy tendrils retreated, and the codex's pulsing slowed to a gentle rhythm. The Zorak's leader staggered, his weapon clattering to the floor. What was that? Lena's smile was gentle but firm. That was the future, a glimpse of what we can become if we work together instead of against each other. She turned to Raj, who was staring at her in amazement. "Encryption complete," he reported. "The codex is safe." Cthor rose from his meditative pose, his fur shimmering with residual energy. "Not just safe," the small alien said. "Transformed. And so are we." As if on cue, Lena's comm crackled to life. It was the Council Arbiter. "Captain Chin, report. The Zorak's fleet has stood down. What's happening?" Lena exchanged glances with Raj, Cthor, and the still-dazed Zoraks. "Arbiter, I think it's time for an emergency council session. We had a lot to discuss about the future of galactic cooperation." As they made their way to the council chambers, Lena felt a profound sense of hope. The crisis had been averted, not through force or clever maneuvering, but through the very unity the Codex had promised. Humanity had not only proven its worth, but had played a pivotal role in ushering in a new era of galactic understanding. The real work was just beginning, but for the first time, Lena felt confident that the diverse species of the galaxy could face the challenges ahead together. The stars themselves seemed to shine a little brighter as Station Novus, battered but unbroken, continued its eternal orbit. A new chapter in galactic history was about to unfold, with humanity standing proudly among the architects of a brighter, more united future. A new era of cooperation. The Grand Council Chamber of Station Novus buzzed with an energy unlike anything in its long history. Representatives from every member species of the Galactic Council, and even some from beyond, crowded the tiered seating. The recent events involving the Quantum Codex had sent shockwaves throughout the galaxy, and now, all eyes were on the central platform where Captain Lena Chen stood, flanked by her loyal team and newfound allies. The Council Arbiter's energy form pulsed with barely contained excitement as it called the session to order. "Esteemed delegates," its resonant voice filled the chamber. "We are gathered here to address the unprecedented events surrounding the Quantum Codex and to chart a course for our collective future." Lena took a deep breath, feeling the weight of the moment. She glanced at Raj, who gave her an encouraging nod, and at Cthor, whose fur shimmered with quiet confidence. Even Tyleth, standing nearby, blinked its 4 eyes in a pattern that Lena had come to recognize as supportive. "Honorable members of the Council," Lena began, her voice clear and strong. "The past weeks have challenged our perceptions, pushed the boundaries of our understanding, and ultimately brought us together in ways we never imagined possible." She gestured to the Quantum Codex, now hovering serenely at the center of the platform. Its surface no longer roiled with chaotic energy, but pulsed with a warm, inviting glow. "The Codex is not a weapon to be wielded or a treasure to be hoarded," she continued. "It is a bridge between species, between minds, and between the very fabric of space-time itself. Through it, we have glimpsed the true nature of our universe and our place within it." Murmurs of agreement rippled through the chamber. Even the Zorak's delegation, once so hostile, listened with rapt attention. "But with this knowledge comes great responsibility." Lena's tone grew serious. "The Codex has shown us that consciousness itself is a fundamental force of the universe, as real and as powerful as gravity or electromagnetism. By learning to harness this force, we can reshape reality itself. The question before us now is, how will we use this power?" The chamber fell silent, each delegate contemplating the enormity of the question. Lena continued, her voice filled with passion. "I propose that we use it not for dominion or personal gain, but for the betterment of all sentient life. Let us form a new coalition, not based on technological advancement or military might, but on our shared capacity for growth, understanding, and compassion. She outlined a bold plan, a galactic initiative to study and implement the teachings of the Codex. Research centers would be established throughout the galaxy, with all species invited to participate. The goal would be not just scientific advancement, but the cultivation of a new form of galactic consciousness, one that transcended individual species while celebrating their unique perspectives. As Lena spoke, the Codex's glow intensified, casting the chamber in a soft golden light. Many delegates gasped as they felt a gentle touch on their minds, not invasive, but inviting. Through the Codex, they caught glimpses of the potential future Lena described, a galaxy united not by force or fear, but by mutual understanding and shared purpose. When she finished, the chamber erupted in a cacophony of voices. Questions, concerns, and expressions of support poured in from all sides. The Council Arbiter had to emit a pulse of energy to restore order. "This is a decision that will shape the future of our galaxy for eons to come," the Arbiter announced. "We will now open the floor for discussion and debate." What followed was the most extraordinary council session in living memory. Species that had been bitter enemies for generations found common ground. Age-old disputes were resolved as delegates gained new perspectives on their shared histories and potential futures. The Zorax, to everyone's surprise, were among the most vocal supporters of the initiative. Their leader, humbled by the experience with the Codex, spoke eloquently about the need to move beyond fear and embrace a new way of existence. Cthor, representing the Kelthor, offered their species' long tradition of consciousness exploration as a foundation for the new galactic initiative. "We have long known that there is more to existence than the physical," the small alien declared. "Now, with the help of our human friends and the Codex, we can finally bridge the gap between spiritual insight and scientific understanding." Kaelith, drawing on its expertise in xenolinguistics, proposed a revolutionary new form of communication that would allow for the direct exchange of thoughts and emotions across species barriers. "Language has always been a bridge between minds," it trilled excitedly. "Now we can build bridges between souls." As the session stretched on, a consensus began to emerge. The galaxy stood on the brink of a new era, and they would face it together. Finally, after what seemed like both an eternity and no time at all, the Council Arbiter called for a vote. The result was unprecedented. Unanimous approval for the formation of the Galactic Consciousness Initiative, with Earth and the Kelthor homeworld nominated as joint headquarters. As the chamber erupted in cheers and a kaleidoscope of alien expressions of joy, Lena felt a wave of emotion wash over her. They had done it. Humanity had not only secured its place among the stars, but had helped usher in a new age of galactic cooperation. Raj clapped her on the shoulder, his eyes shining with pride. "Not bad for a species that was mucking about with steam engines a few centuries ago, eh?" Lena laughed, feeling lightheaded with relief and excitement. "I think we got a few more surprises up our sleeves yet." As the celebrations continued around them, Lena's gaze was drawn back to the quantum codex. Its glow had subsided, but she could still feel its gentle pulse, like a cosmic heartbeat. She knew that their journey was far from over. The path ahead would be challenging, filled with obstacles and setbacks. But for the first time, she felt that the sentient species of the galaxy were truly ready to face those challenges together. The Codex had opened their eyes to the fundamental interconnectedness of all things, but it was up to them, humans, Kelthor, Zorax, and all the rest, to build the bridges between their different worlds and ways of thinking. As Station Novus continued its eternal orbit, Lena Chen, once a simple starship captain, now a pivotal figure in galactic history, allowed herself a moment of quiet reflection. The stars outside seemed to shine with new brilliance, as if reflecting the bright future that lay ahead. Humanity had not only found its place among the stars, it had helped reshape the very nature of galactic civilization. And this, Lena knew, was only the beginning of their grand adventure in the cosmos. The quantum nature of consciousness, once a fringe theory on Earth, was now the foundation of a new galactic order. And at the heart of it all was the indomitable human spirit, adaptable, innovative, and ever-reaching for the stars. As the council session adjourned and delegates began to disperse, filled with newfound purpose and unity, Lena knew that the real work was just beginning. But with the combined wisdom of countless species, the untapped potential of the quantum codex, and the boundless creativity of the human spirit, she had no doubt that they would face whatever challenges the universe had in store. The age of quantum diplomacy had begun, and humanity was leading the charge into a brighter, more connected future for all sentient life in the galaxy.